Hello, Seawolves. Welcome back to another edition of the Stony Brook Media Group. I'm Vyong Hao. It's Valentine's Day, so don't worry, we're here to spread some love and some news.
And I'm Imra Ahmed. We've got a lot to get through today.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced this week that the state will invest $150 million to connect the LIRR's Ronkonkoma station to MacArthur Airport. This new look will include a terminal linking the airport and the train station. With this new investment, the goal is to improve transit access, redesign road networks, and enhance Long Island's transportation infrastructure to make MacArthur Airport a key transportation hub for Long Island. Previously, Hochul pledged $40 million toward this project back in 2022. Suffolk County is also investing in this new look for the station and is also figuring out ways to bring the Amtrak to Long Island. The goal of these inquiries is to reduce New York City congestion. LIRR President Rob Free said they're ready to help provide a similar travel experience passengers have when taking the LIRR to JFK with this new version of MacArthur Airport.
It's officially Valentine's Day, which means many are out currently scrambling for those last-minute gifts. And if you're planning to shop soon, Smith Haven Mall in Lake Grove is about to undergo a major transformation. Simon Property Group has announced a multi-million-dollar redevelopment starting this summer and is set to be completed by 2026. The project will bring new retailers, restaurants, and an outdoor plaza to the mall. It will also feature updates to the interior, including new flooring, seating areas, and a revamped food court. This redevelopment is part of a broader trend on Long Island, with other malls such as Broadway Commons and Sunvet Mall also being transformed into modern, open-air shopping centers. These updates aim to create a vibrant place that combines shopping, dining, and entertainment to better meet the needs of today's consumers. And now let's turn to the political corner, featuring Miriam Gergis and Rafael Auza.
The Trump administration is looking to use Defense Department funds to expand immigration enforcement. The plan would bring in private contractors to build and operate detention centers, transport detainees, and increase deportation flights. Despite extra support from federal agencies like the FBI and DEA, deportations remain lower than expected. President Donald Trump is reportedly frustrated with the slow pace, and 2 top ICE officials were recently reassigned as part of efforts to speed up removals. A major challenge has been funding. ICE is currently limited to around 40,000 detention beds, and while private companies provide additional space, budget restrictions make expansion difficult. Using military funds could allow for a significant increase. To move forward, the administration is considering military contracts designed for rapid logistical support. However, this approach may face legal challenges. Officials say they could justify it by citing national emergency powers and other legal measures. The White House says it remains committed to stricter immigration enforcement, but the plan raises concerns about its legality, cost, and impact. You know, Raphael, reading about this, I wonder how that's going to affect our military and the people who are serving.
Yeah, we've already seen some structural changes and some pretty significant effects as a result. Now onto judicial news. A federal judge has temporarily blocked Trump from firing Hampton Dellinger, the head of the Office of Special Counsel. Dellinger, who was appointed in March 2024, is tasked with investigating government corruption and protecting whistleblowers. On Friday, Trump attempted to remove Dellinger via email, but the judge ruled that such a move violates federal law. The law mandates that the special counsel can only be fired for cause, such as inefficiency or misconduct. Judge Amy Berman Jackson emphasized that this legal protection ensures the independence of the special counsel's office. The Trump administration argued the law is unconstitutional, but the judge disagreed, stating no court has ruled the law invalid. Dellinger remains in his position for now, with a hearing scheduled for February 26th. The case could have significant implications for the protection of whistleblowers and government accountability.
You know, I wonder I think it's important to note that actually the judicial branch is one of the only fronts that the Democrats have during this Trump administration, so I think that's something to look at within the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
On to news about Eric Adams. The acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Danielle Sassoon, has resigned. In a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, she did not give a reason, but reports suggest she was pressured to drop criminal charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams. Sassoon's resignation letter was 8 pages long and outlined concerns that made it impossible for her to continue in the role. The Justice Department's decision to dismiss the corruption case against Adams has sparked concerns about the independence of one of the country's most powerful U.S. Attorney's office. A memo from Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove instructed prosecutors to drop the charges as soon as is practicable. Eric Adams, a Democrat and former Brooklyn Borough president, was charged last year in the first corruption case against the sitting New York City mayor in modern history. Prosecutors allege that since 2014, he received luxury perks from a Turkish official in exchange for pressuring city officials to approve permits for a Turkish consular building. Adams pleaded not guilty, and his trial was set for this spring. Adams, who was once a registered Republican, has called the case politically motivated. He claims federal prosecutors targeted him because of his criticism of the Biden administration's handling of the migrant crisis in New York City. Raphael, have you heard about the recent news about Eric Adams?
Yeah, I heard that he was considering running for mayor again as a Republican. Now, turning to cabinet news, yesterday the Senate confirmed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services in a 52-48 vote. The confirmation is controversial, given Kennedy's past criticism of the agencies he now leads and the stances he's taken in regard to public health as a whole. Some of his stances include repeatedly questioning vaccine safety, linking vaccines to autism, despite overwhelming scientific evidence debunking this common claim. He has also pushed for reducing processing in foods for American diets and supported personal choice in medical decisions, which critics argue aligns with the anti-vaccine movement. Senator Mitch McConnell was the only Republican to vote against him, citing concerns over public health trust. Trump responded by calling McConnell a very bitter guy. Kennedy has pledged to tackle chronic disease, reform food regulations, and investigate vaccine safety, but specifics remain unclear. His confirmation has drawn mixed reactions from lawmakers and industry leaders. This has been the Political Corner. Back to the news desk.
And now let's turn to Anjali Vishwanath to see the latest updates in international news.
Tesla is suing Chinese Tesla owners who've experienced vehicle malfunctions, some of which lead to car crashes, accusing them of defamation of Tesla's brand. According to the Associated Press, over the last 4 years, Tesla has sued 6 car owners, at least 6 bloggers, and 2 media outlets who complained about safety concerns or wrote critically about the company. Tesla has won at least 11 such cases. The Chinese government regularly lavishes Tesla with regulatory benefits and tax breaks, and even instructs the media to avoid negative coverage of the company. This privilege extends to the courts as well, with Tesla winning nearly 90% of cases involving safety concerns brought by customers. This prosperity stems from Elon Musk's relationship with Li Qiang, the former party boss of Shanghai. With Li's help, Tesla has become embedded in the economic fabric of China. Some victims tried to fight back. Zhang Yazhao, a Tesla car crash survivor, parked her damaged car in front of multiple Tesla events in protest and sued the company. She lost the suit. Is it the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America? As of Wednesday, that depends on where you are. Following a long-anticipated executive order from President Donald Trump announcing the name change, Google Maps updated its website and app. From devices in the US, the Gulf is American. From Mexico, it still reads as the Gulf of Mexico. Other countries around the world see both names. Bing and Apple Maps later followed suit, accepting both names. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo has spoken out against the change and said that she is currently in communication with Google to change the name back to the Gulf of Mexico. She also floated the idea of a civil lawsuit against the company should they not acquiesce. The Gulf's other border nation, Cuba, has yet to comment. Across the Atlantic, the UK newspaper The Telegraph forecasted that it will likely remain the Gulf of Mexico to Britishers unless, quote, the new title ordered by Mr. Trump gains widespread usage in English. The Associated Press also refused to comply with the change, issuing a style guide clarification that it will continue to, quote, use the Gulf of Mexico while acknowledging the name Gulf of America in our copy. As a result, the White House blocked an AP reporter from entering the Oval Office to cover an event and refused another AP reporter entrance to the White House's diplomatic reception room. AP Senior Vice President Julie Pace called the ban on AP's access, quote, alarming and a violation of the First Amendment. On the day of same-sex marriage's legalization in Thailand, nearly 2,000 same-sex couples were married in the Southeast Asian nation. Passed last year and going into effect last month, the Marriage Equality Act recognizes marriages between same-sex couples across the country. LGBTQ+ couples in Thailand now have the same rights to inheritance, tax deductions, and adopting children. The new act also uses gender-inclusive language, with terms like spouse and husband replacing both husband and wife. The act also raises the minimum age of marriage from 17 to 18, aligning with international standards on child rights. Following Taiwan, Thailand is the second nation in Asia to recognize same-sex marriages. That's a happy Valentine's Day for Thailand's LGBTQ+ couples. After U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin exchanged talks, European leaders began standing for Ukraine and Europe's right to participate in potential peace talks to end the Russia-Ukraine war. With many European leaders caught by surprise, French President Emmanuel Macron warned that, quote, capitulation might arise upon Trump's suggestion that Russia may not make any concessions during negotiations. Amid tensions between NATO countries, the Danish Defense Intelligence Service warned in a report that Russia could attack one or more countries within NATO if they perceive the alliance to be militarily weakened or politically divided. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that around 45,000 Ukrainian troops have died in the war. Zelensky is expected to meet U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference today. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Anjali. Now we pass it off to Mai Duclay and Adrian Esposito with science and health updates.
Welcome to this week's edition of Health Tech Today. I'm Mai Duclay.
And I'm Adrian Esposito.
Nearly 2 years after the OceanGate Titan submersible implosion, we're finally hearing audio for the first time. The Coast Guard released the clip that's believed to have captured the final moments of the submersible and its implosion back in June 2023. It's a little hard to hear, but take a listen. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration had a passive acoustic radar around 900 miles from the implosion site. All 5 passengers on board were confirmed deceased following the discovery of the wreckage. The audio is part of an ongoing investigation into the vessel's operator, OceanGate.
Because of the ongoing bird flu surge, egg prices have soared to record highs. The previous record was set 2 years ago, when the average price of a dozen eggs was $4.82. Now it has risen to $4.95. The high prices led one ex-user to say they will paint potatoes for Easter instead of eggs. The United States also saw egg prices increase when bird flu last affected the nation's livestock in 2015. Eggs are also hard to find now, with some stores limiting the amount of cartons consumers can purchase at once. Cows can also contract the disease. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that 3 dairy veterinarians had antibodies for the virus in states that were not known to have infected cows. This could mean that infected cows are present in more areas than previously thought.
Researchers off the coast of Spain's Canary Islands faced a recent unexpected encounter. About 2,000 meters offshore, a black sea devil anglerfish was sighted. The animal can live up to 15,000 feet below sea level. The humpback anglerfish specifically is known to live up to 6,500 feet below sea level. The discovery was made by NGO Condrick Tenerife and marine life photographer David Hara Bogunya while they were out researching sharks. Researchers are unsure of why the anglerfish was found so close to the surface, but they said it could be due to illness, upwelling, or perhaps it was fleeing from a predator.
The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute has deemed February American Heart Month, and Valentine's Day brings special attention to the heart. The leading cause of death in the United States is heart disease. To take control of your heart health, the Institute recommends taking stock of your risk factors, eating healthy, and exercising. There's even a tip that many college students do not follow: getting enough sleep. The guidance is to get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep each night. Stress can also harm the heart, so make sure to take breaks and relax. Happy Valentine's Day, and be sure to follow this advice to keep your heart healthy. Thanks for joining us for this week's segment of Health Tech Today. I'm Adrian Esposito.
And I'm Maya Duclay. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
This February marks the celebration of Black History Month, where we remember the achievements of Black Americans. Our reporters Aisha Diamande and Anjali Sinha went to see how those on our campus are feeling during this monumental month.
February marks the start of Black History Month, and here at Stony Brook University, the month is kicking off in a large way. We're at Stony Brook Union, where Stony Brook Union Takeover event is happening right now, where students and faculty members could come together for culture, celebration, and unity. Let's see what they have in store for us.
The atmosphere was laid back, with people forming connections and catching up. You could feel the sense of community in the air. Of course, the food was a highlight. They were dishes representing a range of Black culinary tradition, rich, flavorful, and comforting.
This is one of the most significant cultural events that Stony Brook allows our students to participate in. It shows the entire campus community and student community how important and how significant contributions by the Black community are. I've been a student and a staff member here for quite a few number of years, and each year the significance of our activities, our contributions to our history are made, and we just want to make sure that everyone understands how important and how significant they are, and how we are all one people, and we need to celebrate this one.
No celebration is complete without music. The beats were a soundtrack to the day's energy. The DJ played a mix of music that felt right for the occasion, creating a vibe that was relaxed but lively.
I would say the camaraderie and seeing everyone dance and smile together and connect. Some of my students are connecting with the students here at Stony Brook University. I met some more sorority sisters here, and it's a well-needed feeling of unity.
And there was a photo booth to make sure everything was captured. Because Black history isn't just remembered, it's lived, celebrated, and shared.
Yeah, so an event like this, it means being in community. To have folks from different diasporas, the Black diaspora, come together to be in community, to celebrate our identity, and to celebrate all that we've accomplished, not only in our current life, but those who came before us, our ancestors, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. So this is just a reminder of where we've been and where we're going.
Black History Month was not just celebrated at Stony Brook University, but was lived. It was more than just an event. From the food to the music, the laughter to the memories, every moment was a reminder of the strength, the legacy, and the joy that defines the culture. Black history doesn't end here. It is not just a month. It continues with us every single day.
Now we turn our focus to International Love Data Week. This week provides an opportunity to explore the research and data behind love, relationships, and social dynamics. Our reporter Zoe Busowitz will take us through some key studies that offer insights into how data shapes our understanding of love. Zoe, the floor is yours.
This week is International Love Data Week. Love Data Week was declared in 2016 as a time to appreciate and celebrate the research and data that make our world go round. It's hosted each year by the ICPSR, or the Inter-University Consortium for Political and Social Research. ICPSR maintains a data archive of more than 350,000 files of research. The consortium is headquartered in the University of Michigan, but is made up of over 800 participating research institutions, including our very own Stony Brook University. In the spirit of the holiday, let's take a look at 3 recent data-driven publications that tell us a little bit more about love. On January 16th, a study was published by Professor Shoana Faraz and Dr. Alpana Vaidya of the Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce. The study examines how distance affects modern relationships. Interestingly, despite technology keeping us connected, physical proximity still matters, but not in the way you might think. While couples living near each other showed higher trust levels, being apart didn't affect how happy partners felt in their relationship overall. As more young adults find themselves in long-distance relationships, these findings suggest that while physical separation creates challenges, it's not necessarily a deal-breaker for relationship success. It's all about managing expectations, focusing on building trust across the miles, and believing that distance really can make the heart grow fonder. If you wake up on Valentine's Day to finding a charming new potential beau in your DMs, proceed with caution. New research from the University of Granada, Spain, sheds light on the sinister world of romance scams. Professor Pamela Faber collected over 50 conversations between scammers and their victims to analyze within a commercial transaction frame, which positions victims as buyers and scammers as sellers. The study goes on to dissect the language choices of these so-called sellers and found that they primarily use powerful emotional triggers like destiny, faith, trust, and true love. While they're actually selling a fake relationship, they wrap it in romantic promises and declarations of eternal love. Despite obvious red flags like poor grammar and unlikely stories, the scammers' carefully chosen words often overpowered victims' natural skepticism, a sobering reminder that when it comes to matters of the heart, you should always do your due diligence. A study published in the International Journal of Molecular Studies this past Wednesday explores the chemistry behind falling in love. The paper was co-authored by Jaroslava Babkova and Gabriela Repiska, researchers at Comenius University in Bratislava, Slovakia. Babkova and Repiska found that in the early stages of romance, we feel a surge of dopamine, making love feel literally rewarding. Meanwhile, our levels of nerve growth factor spike, explaining butterflies and racing hearts. And then, as relationships deepen, other chemicals like oxytocin help create lasting bonds. But technology might be changing how we experience love. Social media notifications can hijack these very same chemical pathways, potentially affecting how we form real-world connections. The paper states that, quote, studying the neurobiology of love can lead to novel treatments for conditions like loneliness, depression, and anxiety disorders. Babkova and Repiska recommend future researchers to focus on the impact of both specific biological systems and cultural factors on the expression of love. From the molecular chemistry that makes our hearts race, to the trust that bridges physical distance, to the way words can forge and break bonds, real and fake, data continues to reveal the mysteries of human connection. But perhaps what makes love so fascinating is that even with all of our data and research, it still holds the power to surprise us. Whether you're celebrating Valentine's Day with a partner, friends, family, or treating yourself, remember that love, like good data, is all around. From all of us in Media Group, happy Valentine's Day, happy Love Data Week, and remember to lead with your heart, but don't forget to consult the research.
Thank you, Zoe, for all of that lovely information. Pun intended. With all this love in the air, Imra, what are your plans for today?
Oh my God, Vang, I thought you'd never ask. Well, for me, I'm personally gonna have a Valentine's Day with my girls. I'm super excited for that. I mean, who needs someone when you have your girls, right?
Oh my God.
What about you?
Oh my God, I actually have the exact same plans. I'm gonna have a little Valentine's Day with some of my friends tomorrow. And you know what this reminds me of? The both of us and our very own reporter Christopher Yang went out on the streets of Stony Brook University to see what our campus is doing this Valentine's Day. Let's take a look.
Welcome back to another edition of Chris on the Street. I'm Vyong Hao.
I'm Imra Ahmed.
And I'm Christopher Yang.
Stony Brook University this week is celebrating Valentine's Day. Let's take a look to see how our community is celebrating this holiday. So what are you doing this Valentine's Day?
So this Valentine's Day, me and my 3 other best friends are planning this little get together where it's like we're gonna wear like matching PJs, we're gonna watch a movie, and we're making little mocktails, and it's just be like a cute Valentine's Day.
I'm definitely gonna plan taking my girlfriend over to like a Vietnamese restaurant.
He wants to go to a piano recital, and because I love him, I am going with him. I like metal.
We're going to the Met on Saturday for date night, and we're going to be running around bookstores, walking through Central Park. At least that's our itinerary.
We actually plan to go on a dinner date on Friday after we finish our work.
What are you getting for your Valentine?
I ordered her something from a different country and it still hasn't came yet, so it's probably not going to come until like next month. But I'm getting other stuff too, like flowers, you know, all that.
I probably spent over $200 on gifts for her. If I'll be honest.
I am planning on getting him some candy and flowers. This is going to be our first Valentine's together.
To start it off, I got like a long, you know those long plushie cats? I got one of those that kind of looks like her, and then like a bouquet of flowers to ask her to be my Valentine.
It's like pajama set, just like a pajama set, something slight, nothing too crazy.
You've been in a relationship for 2 years. Do you have any advice for other people in relationships?
Communicate and listen, that's the most important part.
I think something that helps preserve a relationship is definitely confidence. If you have no confidence, you have no trust, and honestly, like you don't build a great relationship with your significant other.
Communication is really key, but also one of the most important things is a sense of humor. You need to be able to laugh with the other person whenever something goes wrong.
I would say better communication, especially if you're doing long distance, because my ex-boyfriend was long distance, and it's like, we really didn't text each other. That's why we broke up in the end, because we just really stopped communicating.
Communicate. Just make sure you talk to each other about what you both want and any sort of boundaries. If you get that out of the way, it's going to be amazing.
And that's all from us. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Back to you guys at the desk.
And now Samatia Katsaros with the weather. And let's hope it's as cool as your Valentine's Day pickup lines.
Before we get to the weather, I'd like to thank our friends at EarthCam for this live shot of Port Jefferson behind me. It's gloomy right now, but that's going to change because the sun will come out tomorrow. It's looking to be a beautiful Valentine's Day, mostly sunny with some pretty gusty winds reaching up to around 30 miles per hour. Those winds will taper off at about noon with the high reaching 36 and the low getting down to about 21. Saturday, we've got some more chances for snow in the early afternoon, but there will be a mix of snow and rain after 4 p.m. We'll reach a high of about 40 and the low not far off at about 36 degrees. Sunday is going to be gloomy and rainy all day, but hey, we'll be right up there in the 50s. We might see some showers going into Sunday night with a low dropping to about 20 degrees. We'll start off our week on Monday with a chilly breeze, but we'll see the sun and it'll remain mostly clear throughout the night. Our high won't go over 30 and our low will stay at a cold 15 degrees. Tuesday will be similar, keeping the sun out for the day. Our high will reach 28 until our clouds eventually roll back in with our low getting to 16. Wednesday will bring the sun back out, our high reaching just over 30 and our low getting down to about 17. Thursday is the day to keep your eye on. It's looking like we're going to see some snow, could be anywhere between 3 to 5 inches with a high of about 26 and the low getting down to 19. Like I said, this is still a week out and there is a chance that we could be seeing a lot more snow, but as of now, those conditions don't seem optimal for anything more. Stay alert and make sure you check back for more updates. Back to you.
Now let's hand it over to Miles Reese as he brings us the latest in entertainment.
Thanks, guys, and welcome to another edition of the Media Minute, where you get the latest news in entertainment and pop culture. I'm Miles Reese, and let's get into some exciting things happening with this week, starting with the release of Megan 2.0. And to those who aren't familiar with the Megan series, it features a toy designer who uses artificial intelligence to create a life-size doll for children. But everything changes when some unforeseen events make the Megan doll go from lovable playmate over to haywire machine. Megan 2.0 is expected to outperform the $181 million of revenue that the original made in the box office just 2 years ago. And fans are on the edge of their seats for what's next in this suspenseful storyline. Now, Megan 2.0 is only in theaters June 27th, so remember to get those tickets early because you definitely don't want to miss out on this thriller. And next up, we have Captain America: Brave New World is officially in theaters today. Captain America is back on the big screen, but will have a new face as Anthony Mackie portrays the patriotic hero. This movie builds on the events from the Disney Plus miniseries The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In the Brave New World, the fourth installment of Captain America film series, Mackie's Sam Wilson teams up with Joaquin Torres, aka Falcon, played by Danny Ramirez. They try to solve an international incident and figure out who is behind a global plot before the leader behind it unleashes their plan. And last but not least, it's Saturday Night Live 50 Week. In celebration of the late night comedy sketch's 50-year anniversary, this Sunday the show will be airing their 3-hour SNL 50 homecoming concert with guest performances like Sabrina Carpenter, Bad Bunny, and Paul McCartney. So for you music lovers out there, there's definitely something for everyone. And the show will also be featuring special alumni like Dave Chappelle, Steve Martin, and Tina Fey. So it looks like a really fun night ahead of us. And I must say, as an SNL superfan myself, I'll definitely be tuning into this one for sure. And that's just about it for me. Let's throw it over to Tommy with sports. Now, Tommy, we had a historic Super Bowl win. How's it looking?
What a historic win it was. The Philadelphia Eagles won their second Super Bowl Sunday night, blitzing the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22 at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Philadelphia took control of the matchup early, commanding a 24-0 lead by halftime. Kansas City never found their trademark late-game spark as Patrick Mahomes struggled under center. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts took home Super Bowl MVP honors after a 3-touchdown performance. Pitchers and catchers have begun to report for spring training as the Yankees and Mets look to replicate last year's success. Over the winter, the Mets lured superstar Juan Soto from the Bronx to the Queens with a 15-year, $765 million contract. With Pete Alonso returning, a revamped rotation, and Francisco Lindor in MVP form, the Mets look primed to compete for their first World Series title since 1986. Despite losing Soto, the Yankees have arguably gotten better this offseason. After inking starter Max Fried in free agency, the team acquired star reliever Devin Williams and former MVP Cody Bellinger in separate trades. The defending American League champions entered this year as division favorites, hoping to claim their first World Series titles in 16 years. The NHL's inaugural Four Nations Face-Off has begun this week. Teams of players from the United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden will compete in a round-robin tournament at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. The first two matchups are in the books as Canada bested Sweden 4-3 in overtime on Wednesday, and the United States cruised past Finland 6-1 on Thursday. The two teams with the best records in the tournament will face off in the championship game at the TD Garden on February 20th. That'll do it for this week's sports segment. Let's send it back to Vyong and Imra.
Thank you, Tommy. And that's all we have for this week's show. I'm Imra Ahmed.
And I'm Vyong Hao. We all wish you a happy Valentine's Day. See you next week.